But once I learned this framework, and I'm going to share with you today, it made a massive impact on me. I went from failing miserably in sales to being the #1 rep at Salesforce. If you're looking for a way to simplify the goal setting process and putting together an actionable plan so that you can achieve your goals consistently, this video is for you. 92% of people set goals and don't achieve them every single year. And I was one of them because I didn't know how to properly set the right goals and put action plans in place. But once I learned this framework, and I'm going to share with you today, it made a massive impact on me. I went from failing miserably in sales to being the #1 rep at Salesforce to then leading a startup at the age of 25, helping them have a 9-figure exit, becoming a chief revenue officer at the age of 33, and retire from the game at the age of 34 to do this. And the concept that I'm going to teach you today is a SMART goal setting framework. And this isn't my framework. The original ideas of this came out actually in the 1950s, right? And they've been fleshed out over the decades, but it's so powerful. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to walk you through how I think about it so that if you're setting goals, you can do it the right way and increase the chances of you hitting them consistently. Okay, so let's get right into it. The first thing I want to do before we actually get into the SMART is talk about the things to do before picking the SMART goals. #1 is getting clear on your purpose. Purpose is, what do you want to be known for? What's your legacy? Right? What have you been put on this earth to do? Vision. Articulate and create a vivid vision for your life that encapsulates all 5 senses in a way that creates a pull and it's a gravitational thrust that even when you're struggling, you have that vision to anchor to. After you establish your vision, this is when you pick the right goals. This is what I call your must or your non-negotiables. And all of these exercises I have broken down in detail in other videos. If you want to learn how to do that, those are different exercises. But this is pre-work that you should be doing to help you identify the right goals for you at this stage in your journey. Then you're going to go into the milestones, which is where we are today. And this is where the SMART goal setting framework comes into play. So what is the SMART goal setting framework? So it's an acronym, and that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based. Excuse my penmanship, wasn't my greatest strength. So let's break down what these mean one by one. Specific means, is this simple? Right? Is it sensible? Does it help me understand like what I'm really aiming for? If you work in sales, a great example of this is a starting point is, I want to increase my average deal size by $100,000. Okay? So that could be specific. It's simple, right? If you put this long, drawn-out thing, that just creates complexity, and complexity is the enemy of execution. So we want simple goals. So it's specific. Then we look at, okay, is it measurable? That's what the M stands for. Measure stands for, do we have a black and white way to know whether or not we achieved this milestone? So usually that's in the form of yeses and nos. If it's a black and white answer, whether it's number-based, dollars-based, percentage-based, whatever that is, something to actually measure it in an objective way. Because if it's subjective, it won't work. It's got to be objective of how you measure results. That's what the M stands for. A stands for attainable. Is this a realistic goal that you can attain? If your goal is to be the President of the United States in 2024, and you're an account executive right now, it's probably an unrealistic goal, right? To go back to the other example, if your goal is to increase your average deal size by $100,000, well, the follow-up question is, well, what's the average deal size that you have right now? Well, right now, my average deal size is $25K. Okay, another question to ask is, well, what's the average deal size of the other people in the organization? Well, the average deal size of the other people in the organization is $50K. Okay, so your goal is to get to $125K, which is what you're aiming for, which is over double what the average is for the company, right? Now, is that doable? Maybe, right? Is it realistic in a specific time frame? Probably not. So maybe you want to set a goal that is more realistic based on the near future and what we're going to outline below. So thinking about whether it's attainable are relevant. This is where these previous exercises come into play. You want to get hyper focused on the goals that are the most relevant for you at this stage in your journey. And if you're not clear on what your North Star is, what your purpose, vision, and musts are, then it's going to be hard for you to pick relevant goals for you at this stage in your journey. To build onto the goal that I've been talking through, if you're in sales and you're trying to transition to customer success, it may not be the best goal for you to try to increase your average deal size, because perhaps that metric isn't the most important metric to transition to a different role. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? But think about, is it relevant for you based on the other aspirations you have in your life? Because if there's conflict, then that's going to make it hard for you to consistently achieve goals month after month, quarter over quarter, year after year. So check, is it relevant? And last but not least, is it time bound? Got to have a deadline for when you're going to achieve this. And because if you don't, there's no way to really hold yourself accountable and really light a fire. Because the value of the SMART goal setting framework is to have a clear idea of what you need to do by when. So it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So I want to increase my average deal size by 100K in the next 6 months. I don't have intentions of being in customer success. The average deal size for my company is in a realistic spot where if I increase mine by 100K, that's right in line with it. And the sales cycle length supports it in a way so that I can get multiple cycles under my belt within that time frame, right? So this is a simple example as a sales professional that you can use. Couple mistakes people make when setting goals. Try to avoid goals that you can't completely control. Example, getting promoted. Getting promoted is a great thing to run at, but if you're setting a goal against it, you could be setting yourself up for failure because there's other things that come into play for you to officially be promoted. Things that are going on with the company, things that are going on with your leadership, right? Things that are going on with the economy. So if your goal is to, if you're thinking about goals that other people ultimately have control over, then what I would do is I would rethink those goals in a way that is 100% your control. So using that example of I want to get promoted, what's another way we could think about that? Well, what are the things that goes into being promoted? You're being number one on the team. Okay, can we control that? We have much more control over that than someone else saying, yes, you're promoted. So what are the factors that go into you being positioned for promotion? And that's a great way to back here into SMART goals that are more relevant for this situation, right? So leverage a SMART goal setting framework. And then after you do that, your next steps is think about the daily rituals that you have to do to achieve them. I'm going to break that down in another video, but set the SMART goals and then what it needs to happen every single day, right? And if you do that, you'll be set up for success. Hope this is helpful. My name is Justin J. Johnson, founder and creator of the beautiful Savage Sales Academy. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm looking forward to seeing your transformation. I'll see you in the next one.